You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. Today's guest is Barry Weinman, co-founder of Allegis Capital, HiBEAM, and Dragon Bridge Capital. Since 1980, Barry and his partners have helped take over 70 private companies public. Has there been a difference that you've seen from the first company that you took public to the 70th company? Has it gotten easier?
Actually, currently it's harder. In fact, the United States is going through a period now because of Sarbanes-Oxley where it is very difficult to go public. And the U.S. capital markets, the NASDAQ, which is the public market where most technology companies go, has lost its lead to the London Exchange, the AIM market in London. They're losing it to the Hong Kong Exchange and to the Tokyo Exchange because it's too difficult now for a young company to go public in the U.S. Over time, that's ebbed and flowed, but the basic principles are still there. During the bubble, if you can remember that, people took companies public on concepts, not real businesses, and that's why the bubble burst. And you see a little of it again, especially in places like China where there's a very big bubble. But by and large, if you do it right, if you're focused, and if you build real businesses, the process of going public is the same.
How about working with your wife? Do you think that you might have had a different outcome if you weren't working with your wife in that situation?
Well, I would have been tempted less to kill somebody. It's a very trying experience to work with your wife. You probably may find that out yourselves. On the other side of the coin, if you're both driven, and we were both driven, and you're both entrepreneurial, then it can be a benefit, because if, for example, in a husband-wife team, if one is driven and very entrepreneurial and the other one isn't, that causes conflicts, because being an entrepreneur is a 24/7 process, and if the other person is not interested in that, that can cause conflict. Working with my wife, in this case, she came from an entrepreneurial family. She was, in fact, I think more driven than I was. We fed off each other. That caused also some problems, but at least we were going down the same path.
Do you think that as an entrepreneur, and then you've met quite a bit of entrepreneurs, what are the things that make the successful entrepreneur successful and the unsuccessful ones unsuccessful?
Well, that's the hardest question for any prospective investor or co-founder or employee. I liken it to the difference between a great entrepreneur and a charlatan. A charlatan is somebody who has great enthusiasm, has a wonderful idea, and can convince almost anybody to go along with them along that process. A great entrepreneur has to do the same thing. The difference is a great entrepreneur is dealing with something real, whereas a charlatan is dealing with something phony. So the entrepreneur has to have great passion and has to really believe in what they're doing, and they have to be able to convey that message to everybody that they're involved with, their employees, their customers, their suppliers, and their investors. So we look for that as, is this the kind of person that can motivate and build teams? Is this the kind of person that will listen to their customers? Is this the kind of person that wants greatness?
But then when they come in and pitch you, right? We had talked a little bit earlier, and you said, man, in the beginning stages of that pitch, you kind of have an idea already. So what are the indicators that are telling you whether that person is the type of person you want or the type of person that maybe is not a good match?
Well, if you step back and say, how do you build a public company, and what are the issues of building a public company, the job of the CEO becomes very clear. The job of the CEO is to provide the resources for everybody else in the company, and the CEO is the only person who can do that, because investors who invest in the company give the company the ability to acquire the resources, whether that's people, facilities, equipment, parts. And when you look at somebody, you have to determine, is that the kind of person that will be attractive to people to invest in? And people want to invest in people that they like, that they believe, so there's a level of trust and honesty, and that they can understand, no matter how complex the business is, understand it simply, and then believe, can this person execute? So we focus, and I specifically focus on, is that person capable of doing those things? They may be better engineers in the world. They may be better salespeople in the world. They may be better marketing people in the world. That's fine. That entrepreneur can hire them. He does not, or she does not, have to be the best in that case. What they have to do is they have to be able to tell the best story.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.